Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back, and we are getting back into Love Island All Stars and we are now on episode 32. Oh boy sir, these people not easy. Like, they're really not easy at all. But anyway, before we get into this episode, as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. And let's talk about this episode, shall we? So the romantic night carries on, so everybody's gushing. The girls are with the girls, the lads are with the lads, and they're all gushing about their night and how things turn out. Georgia S and Toby did confirm to the villa that, you know what, they are now locked off and exclusive, which is a good thing for them both. Arabella reads out Adam's poem. Georgia H wanted, I think it was Molly's dog to cuddle. Sophie basically said that she had never seen Josh so nervous, and Josh explained how much he was shitting bricks too, which the guys showed that, you know what, that just showed where your emotions were. Then after all this gushing, yeah, Anton basically talks about his date with Georgia S, and I'm sorry, it wasn't on the level as everybody else's date, and I think he was trying to make it seem exciting in that sense. But my thing is they don't catch the looks that everybody else is giving when Anton speaks about, like, the situation with Georgia H. So basically, again, it was all about Georgia H's literal wants and needs. And even when Georgia H was talking to the girls about her date with Anton, she was literally saying that, you know, I love the fact that he made it all about me. He put himself in my shoes. Me, I. That's all that came across. I'm sorry, that is all that came across when Georgia H was talking about her date with Anton. And I'm like, well, where's Anton in all of this? Like, seriously, where is he with all of this? And this is why I don't understand how Georgia H is not realizing why people are coming to the confirmation that they're coming to is that she is not necessarily interested in Anton, and this is all about her saving face now, because it will be, in terms of being in the villa and in the public eye. And then when she gets out, her and Anton's relationship is going to fizzle out completely. Like, seriously, I don't think it's going to go the long haul, but that is my opinion. So basically, Molly is talking about Tommy, and basically she said she can't find no fault in him at all. And I'm like, seriously, you cannot find no, you say you did not find no fault in Tom at all, especially after the whole Georgia S scenario and the videos that came out, and then you having those discussions with her. That was you finding fault in Tom. And then the fact where you did in the last episode that little pissed off not talking to him, pretending to sleep kind of scenario, and he was saying to you, like, please don't be that way, was you finding fault in Tom again. So yeah, I shall move on from that. You see Jess talking about Callum and how they're getting on, and then the camera pans to Molly. Now Molly literally did look like she went proper quiet and looked like she was getting a little bit upset by what Josh was saying in regards to Callum and how they're getting on. So Arabella basically had a chat with Molly and to see where her head was at, especially when it came to Jess speaking about Callum, saying that she went quite quiet. So she just wanted to know what that was about. So Molly basically said no, it was about Georgia H in regards to when she was speaking about Anton. And then Molly starts to get upset when she starts to speak about Georgia H and how far she's come with Anton. But the little skeptic in me is saying that, you know what, there probably was a little bit of upsetness because of what Jess was saying in regards to Callum, because now Molly knows that door is well and truly closed to herself, especially at least having the scope, as people hoped, for them to find a way back to each other. So she's probably thinking, after 3 years of being with this person that she thought she'd probably be with for life, they'll probably get engaged, get married, all of that hoopla and everything like that. Don't forget, she lived with him. Accepting that that door is now closing, there's going to be some emotional upheaval there. There is going to be that emotional upheaval. Anyway, so we get to the chat that's happened between Georgia H and Josh. So Josh pulls Georgia H for a chat. And basically Josh is still standing on what he said. He was being honest with her. He had an honest opinion and he shared it with her. So basically Georgia H is saying, if you were really my friend, basically they've been friends for 10 years, 10 whole years, you know. She's saying that you would support me in any relationship that I was in. I said, no, Georgia H, that reeks of you want a yes man. You want a yes person behind you. Because at the end of the day, your friend should be the one, especially close friends, especially ones that you've had for 10 years, yeah, should be the one to be able to tell you the truth, even though they know it may hurt you. Even if they see you making monumental mistakes, if it's time and time again, then they will have to draw you up and say, look, what's going on? Those type of friends. At the end of the day, those are the type of friends that will call you out on the bullshit that's happening. Yes, you may not want to hear it at that point in time, but that's what those types of friends do for you, and you appreciate that. But all I will say is Georgia H's view on friendship as she was talking to Josh is completely off kilter, like completely off kilter. Basically, she took on what Anton was saying and said that she saw Josh tearing down her relationship. And so Josh asked her the correct question: why would I want to tear down your relationship? What would I gain from tearing down your relationship? So Georgia H says, well, I don't know. That's only something you can answer. And Josh says, but it's not true. What would he essentially gain from tearing down a relationship? Seriously? So basically all that came down to is Georgia H wanted Josh to change his opinion. Josh refused to change his opinion because, you know, it was steeped in truth, and also it was steeped based on the factual evidence in regards to the movements of Georgia H within the relationship that she had with Anton. But don't get me started on that. Basically, my thing is she didn't want to be called out on the truth. She really did not want to be called out on the truth, because at the end of the day, it's like a torchlight has been shone on their relationship, and she don't like that in the slightest. So basically she turned around and decided that she was going to end a relationship, a friendship of 10 years over an opinion. I thought that was Morgie of her, to be honest with you. Like, seriously, the way in which she tried to explain it as well was the fact of the reason why she called everybody to the fire pit, and then the fact that she tried to say, oh, Josh tried to run off. And I'm like, Josh didn't run off though. Josh did not run off. He was not going to stay for the bullshit, especially when all the people that were vocal, because there were people that were vocal, we were watching it, decided to stay on mute and didn't back him up in the slightest in regards to what they said. So he was the only one out on the limb. So Georgia H and Anton, to an extent, has taken that to place the brunt of everything else that happened within that game, how people voted on Josh. Like, seriously, on Josh. So Josh weren't particularly bothered that they lost that friendship. I think she wanted Josh to turn around and say, no, that's not how it was. Do you know what? I apologise. That's not how I meant it. Nobody said nothing. She wanted Josh to validate her. She wanted Josh to validate her and take back his opinion of her, well, of the relationship between her and Anton. And then when that did not happen, you see how the camera caught, and you see how she was looking after that. And it's kind of like she actually wasn't expecting Josh to walk away in the way that he did, but he did. Because sometimes you got to hold your hands up and say, do you know what, I'm done. I'm done. You think you do what you want to do. You take care. You be blessed. Hope you get everything in life. But I'm gone. At the end of the day, if you don't want a friendship like mine, you do you. You do you. Then we get to the daytime, and you know, there's thinly veiled jibes being thrown about in the words that they say in regards to what happened last night. So you see Josh and Anton in the kitchen, and basically Anton's asking how his discussion with Georgia H went down. And he's told Anton it didn't go down the best at the end of the day. And literally said, it is what it is. He ain't gonna beat no bones about it. He's moving on from it. I'm just like, in this episode and in the previous episode, I'm gonna say again that Arabella is kind of doing my head in. Like, seriously, she's doing my head in, because she has so many opinions over everything and everybody, but you know what, doesn't have any opinions over herself. But hey ho, we'll completely move on from there. My thing is Anton as well has always got something to say about everybody else's relationship, always got a 10 pence worth to put in somewhere, but doesn't concentrate on his own relationship and the business going on there. But hey, we shall move on from there. So you see Georgia H talking to Callum, and basically again gushing about how it was the best day ever. All I'm going to say is someone doth protest too much. So then she gets onto the subject of Josh, and basically saying her and Josh got into a row. And I'm like, no, you didn't get into a row. You talked over Josh. Josh said what he said, and then he walked away. It was done. There was no row to be had at the end of the day. So she then brings Sophie into the situation, and Sophie ain't said shit about her at the end of the day, but she brought Sophie into the situation and tried to say about how they're immature in regards to saying, you know, everybody around the villa saying these things about you, but then no one stands up, but you ain't even saying who said what and why they said what and da-da-da. Why does he have to? Why does he actually have to? Josh don't have to do any of that. It's my thing is I think Georgia H is the immature one, because she is not believing that anybody else has a difference of a freaking opinion. And at the end of the day, if Josh is seeing what he's seen and he opened up his opinion to you, same way that the public saw what they were seeing, what does that actually tell you though? I'm just like, people needed to have spoke up. Like, seriously, people needed to have spoke up in defense of Josh, because they know they were chatting that Anton and Georgia H's business. They know they were. We saw them do it. Like, we literally saw them do it, but no one said nothing. And they still stay saying nothing. And I'm like, just like, you know, Georgia H decided to throw away a 10-year relationship over an opinion. So she needs to keep it that way and keep it trucking and keep it moving at the end of the day, because what's done is done is done. Josh is saying that he does not want to be messy in the slightest, so he is not going to drop no names. If people don't want to chat and literally stand on ceremony and say it with their chest what they said about Georgia H and Anton, that's for them and their business at the end of the day. Josh stayed true to himself. Sophia stayed true to herself. So let's keep mushing. But no, Georgia H is still going on. And at that point, I was like, seriously, this girl's getting on my nerves. Give it a rotted rest. Like, seriously, give it a rotted rest. You made your motherfucking decision. You decided not to be friends with this dude anymore. He's walked away and said, fine, my man's not chatting about it no more. Give it a rest. You just wanted a yes man. That's all you wanted, a yes man. But Josh ain't one of those people. He's seriously like one of those people. And if you've been friends with him for 10 years, then you bloody well know that. Basically, Sophie's saying it is getting on her rotted nerves now that they keep going and going and going. Basically, I forgot to say as well that this conversation was happening after the lads actually got a freaking day out at last. Like, literally got a day out at last. So then Georgia S pipes up in that conversation, and of course she would side with Georgia H and said, basically that Georgia S was right to gather people around the fire pit because she just wanted to put Josh on blast and make him call people out rather than just ask. But you know what? Josh said what he said, and Alia just still sat there quiet, chirping like canaries on their fucking relationship, but literally watching Josh get fucking sold down the freaking river for 10 pieces of freaking silver right now. But none of y'all was saying nothing. None of y'all was saying nothing. But what I would do, let's get into the list of why Josh and everybody else, including myself, thinks the way we think in regards to their relationship. Okay. Point number 1, she meets Anton. Point number 2, she throws Anton over for Josh. Josh moves on to Sophie. You know what, Anton? She goes back to Anton. Point number 4, she throws Anton over for Mitch. Mitch ends up leaving the villa. She goes back to Anton. Point number 6, she throws Anton over for Casey. Casey decides he does not want to get to know her again in the slightest. She moves back to Anton. She told the girls that Anton was giving an ick. She didn't know what it was about Anton. She didn't know what it was that he was doing, but he was giving her the ick. Okay? Point number 8. She says to Arabella, Georgia H says to Arabella, she can't deal with needy guys, and Anton is being kind of needy and it's starting to get on her nerves a little bit. Point number 9. She shows no type of affection towards Anton, except recently because she's starting to be called out about her lack of affection towards Anton. Point number 10. She does not meet any of his needs. Everything she says about Anton is about herself and what he does for her. So tell me from that where you're supposed to get that they have an absolutely good connection and great relationship. Because Anton literally browbeat her into the position that she's in now. There's no one else coming into that villa for her, so she is not going to be standing on her own in that villa without someone next to her. And the only person, as I keep saying, who's been consistent has been Anton. Because Anton's desperate to have someone himself. So that's why he's kind of latched onto Georgia H. But hey ho, they have a good relationship. They do. They do. As you see, Sophie starts to kick up. Sophie was about to fully kick off in regards to the situation. She didn't realise. She says she don't know why Georgia S is piping off, but she was about to kick off, and then a text comes in. Saved by the bell, Georgia S. You were saved by the bell. So basically, they said that the girls, while the boys were out, would have video calls from people back home, like family and friends. And oh my God, they started crying. They started crying so bad. So bad. But the worst one that was crying was Arabella. She could be heard over everybody. And all I was saying, oh, shut up, please. Like, seriously, shut up, please. This is quite painful. So it switches to the boys' time. Josh is saying that basically he don't want no more drama. He wants to stay out of it. And Callum brings up Georgia H. And Josh does tell Callum and Toby the truth of it in regards to the situation with Georgia H. And so Josh is basically saying that he had an honest opinion. He's just going to leave it there. Georgia H is going to do what she wants to do, and more power to her. So Toby is basically happy that he's locked off, and then we go back to the villa and Sophie gets a video call from her sister Rochelle, and I was like, oh, they look like twins. You know, I didn't actually recognise who Rochelle was until Marvin came on, and I was like, oh my God. And for the life of me, I'm still trying to remember the group that Marvin was in, because I actually really liked that group. Like, honestly liked that group, and I had their album and everything, and I was like, oh God, that's who Rochelle is. But her sister did talk some truths into her at the end of the day, because she said as big sister she's starting to like Josh now more than she did in the start because of how he was playing things with Joanna. But Sophie is basically saying that she can't wait for them to meet Josh. So then Georgia S had her bestie Danny die, and I was kind of hoping that someone would give this gal some home truths about her behaviour. But basically she was talking about how she had a great journey, and she did. Can't knock her for that. Georgia S had a fucking bit of a journey in that place, like an honest journey in that place. She said she stayed true to herself. I would say the point that Georgia S stayed true to herself was the point where she actually accepted Toby was her fate in life. And that's when Georgia S stayed true to herself. Because even Danny was saying to her that, you're like, you know, Callum was all good and all that, but she likes a guy with an edge, and Toby was the one to give her that, and basically gave her some good advice where she says that now she needs to trust in Toby, because at the end of the day Toby put himself on a limb for Georgia S, and all he's done is literally show himself that this is the person that he wants to be with. So Daddy did tell her some good advice that she needs to start putting her trust in Toby. And then she was saying, like, Georgia S didn't know what exclusivity meant, whether it was their boyfriend or girlfriend, but she didn't want to ask Toby. Exclusive means, my girl, that used to are locked like this, used to are like that. So even if there was space for anybody to come back in that villa, you would not be like that, you would be like that. So they could not get a chance with you. So you are essentially boyfriend and girlfriend, okay? You are boyfriend and girlfriend. The theme, the running theme through some of these were about Molly and Callum, and everybody believing that they would get back together. I was like, oh, whoa, that was not good. So Georgia H gets Olivia Atwood, and basically they would, as again, validating Georgia H and saying to her that, you know what, Anton is a good guy. It's probably something that she needs in her life in regards to Anton and everything that he does for her. At first it was like she was just saying yeah, and it was kind of like she was ignoring what they were saying about Anton, because she was smiling in other aspects, but she was more bothered about how she came across when she was involved with Casey and getting an opinion there, and how it came across with Josh and getting an opinion there. And all I would say is that conversation was quite rather telling. But anyway, again, they piped up and said that everyone wants it to happen between Molly and Callum. Okay. So then Georgia H comes back out, and they're all sitting around, because as they come out, they tell them who they spoke to, what they spoke about, yada, yada, yada. And of course, Georgia H goes off about Josh again, because she was the one that asked her friend her opinion on Josh, and then that's what she said. So again, someone validated her in that sense, even though Josh, I believe, was in the right, but hey ho. She turns around, she says that they brought up Callum and Molly. And Jess is like, really? Just perked up at that point. And even Molly was like, no, it's not like anything like we're doing inside of here. At the end of the day, what the public think is what the public think. But no, that ship has definitely sailed. So Georgia H again kept on bringing up Josh, and that's when Sophie said, do you know what, she's completely over this scenario at the end of the day. Georgia H says, well, I am too, and I'm like, no, you ain't, because that's why you keep bringing it up and expecting Sophie to sit there quietly on the sidelines while you keep ragging on her, man. She's not going to allow you to do that anymore. So basically Sophie says, can it be done? And even Molly said everyone is entitled to their opinion. Georgia H may have agreed to what Molly was saying, but nah. Georgia H don't believe that Josh is entitled to the opinion, because it's not an opinion that Georgia H wants to hear or accept. But hey ho. So Jess goes in and she gets her best friend Demi. And they talk about Callum and the fact that Jess did meet him 4 years ago on the show, but it's surprising her now because they're both completely different people and how he is being with her at the moment. Her friend said that looks-wise, Callum is her type. And again, she brings up the speculation around Molly and Callum and them hopefully getting back together. So Molly then gets her best friend Sophie and she gets to see her dog, and this girl cried straight up, no talking, with full on just cry. Basically Fusel managed to get out that everybody loves Tom, and basically again her friend did ask Molly the question about, you know, the public are very like wanting them to get back together. And basically Molly said, well, with Callum, it's nice now, but she definitely thinks that chapter is closed. And I think he's going to put a little bit of seed in Molly's head and probably Callum's head if they heard that, you know what, the public believes that you two should be back together, because I'm telling you, there's unfinished business between Callum and Molly. Unfinished business between Callum and Molly. Anyway, so let me get to Arabella and her best mate Charlotte. Oh, this girl ugly cried, like proper ugly cried. They were just talking about Adam, happy that he picked her. She feels now that she's got her happy ending. More power to her. She said the Toby situation was the hardest thing for her. But I'm just like, but you're still taking shots at this man where you can. Like, you need to leave it alone now. You've moved on clearly with Adam. Adam is what you want. As your friend said, as soon as he came in with all the tattoos, all this, that and the other, she knew that was your type entirely. Adam and Toby are like night and day at the end of the day. So yeah, she's got what she wanted, so she needs to just leave Toby alone. So then all the guys came back, and it's kind of like, it's even, I will say, at the beginning when the lads went, I did note how quick from previous times that Georgia H was quick to jump on Anton and say, oh, miss you, babe. Giving these hugs and kisses. I said, is he? Okay. And then I noted when the lads come back that she was literally picking up her pace on Anton, and she literally jumped in this man's arms to give him kisses. She'd never done that before. Like, seriously, never done that before. But hey ho, that's where the episode ended. But I'll be back very soon with the next episodes. It won't be probably until Sunday because I am a little bit busy over the weekend. But this is why I've managed to record a few videos for you to keep you in good stead until then. I'm a good name, I. Anyway, my renegades, as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.